Okay, hello. It is now the evening of the 21st, the end of my 4-day weekend, and it's time to take a look at what we've got, excuse me, because it's progress. Now, I don't have a whole ton of code changes. Um, the ones I do, we'll talk about as we get to them, I think. Um, but I'm going to say right now, if you're following along and you feel like testing the game and telling me how it's going, please do so now because I'm going to actually go over the levels I've done, the areas I've done, um, and I'd rather that you try them before watching and give me feedback. Um, so go ahead and check the description. A new build is up. It's available. Go ahead and check it out. I'll be back when you're ready. All right. So either you played it or you don't care and you're just watching the video. So let's go ahead and actually no. Let me go and reset this back to the beginning of the game. We'll go run through the very beginning so we get an idea of what the game is like right now. I've added a couple new areas. I don't know how many because I don't remember what I did. I think I did the block monsters. Did I do the block area yet? I don't think it was there yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and game start. Right. This right here is where I can set my checkpoint. And it's going to be at the game start right now. I added checkpoints too, so let's go ahead and check that out. So, just like before, we got this first area. If I drop into spikes though, it sends me back to the checkpoint. The checkpoint is wherever you entered the area. I can also press R to go back to the beginning. I'm not going to do it right now. Because there are some puzzles where you can screw them up, and I'd rather you be able to do that. Alright, so minor changes. I changed the way those guys are placed. Oh, I added particle effects. So you can see they splash. And let's take a look. See? I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's little fire sparky effects. So I'll hit them. There's kind of a puff of smoke that shows when they change forms. Same thing goes for water, except water has kind of a splash effect. Actually, the splash effect looks quite good. The fire one, I don't know, it's not perfect. The smoke is fine. Okay, I made some other tweaks to the way that drops work, and there's going to be a bug down here, I think, that I still have not figured out. I can't track it down because it's really weird. I'll show it to you though. All right, so this I believe was the last area from last time, maybe. I think, yeah, this is probably the last area. So hit that guy, knock him down onto these spikes. We'll move ahead. Now this, all right, let's wait for these guys to fall back down. Oh, I gotta fix that. I keep forgetting to fix this area. Now right there, this guy here, this thing does not want to go up. And actually I'm going to go out and back in and show you that it doesn't always work, right? But sometimes it does. Right? So it like works intermittently, and I'm not sure why. It's really very confusing. All right, now I don't know if I was at this area, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you now. Oh, let's move this out of the way. Yeah, whatever. You saw and I am. So I think I showed it to you, but one thing I did was that if it can grow, well, I'll show it to you in another place. Oh wait, we got to go back down. This is the introduction of the. I think I had added them, but I had not yet made a level. So this is your introduction area, right? That shows you that you can push blocks around. This shows you that they grow, right? So you got fire and ice to try them out. Let's pick up the fire here. I could shrink that one, but I'm not. I'm going to just go ahead and do this one. See? And now I use this like a shriveled up little sponge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up for now because I know what's ahead. So we'll push them over here. All right, so now one thing I added is that if it's blocked on one area, it can expand by one side or the other. Not quite enough, so I'm going to have to go ahead with another water. Bam. All right. So by default, they expand straight up. straight up. But if they're blocked on the left or right, they'll go left or right. If they can't, then they won't not expand either at all. Alright, so this is my next puzzle. It is significantly more difficult and more complex than the previous one, and I removed several steps to make this easier. This is also your introduction to this guy here, the pushy monster. So the pushy monster right there. So you'll notice, let's go back a step. As you enter this area, you see that there's a fire seed immediately below you. However, that area is blocked off. You cannot get to it. Right? Can't push against this side here. Whoops. And then there's this thing here, which we haven't seen before. I may add another area that introduces how these guys works, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this for now. And that block. So he's there looking at that block, but he doesn't do anything. And these guys, I need to fix their graphics. That's a temporary graphic. They're going to look a little bit better. Maybe the same general shape, but they'll be not as derpy. This is also the first area where you can get yourself stuck and not be able to progress. Previously, you could only... I don't think there was any way to actually get yourself in a position. No, there was one place where you could get yourself into a position, but you had to try kind of hard. So this guy here is blocking off an area. We'll notice we can get back up here. No problem. But if you fall down here, oh, you can't get back up. And you can't push this thing. It's too big. So we need to shrink that. Alright, so we can go down here. And one thing you'll notice here is this little push guy now. He's moving around because he's in his normal mode. That guy up there was in his water mode, his frozen mode. Now originally, this balloon monster here was over on this platform, but not frozen. So you had to freeze him and drop him on so that he get pushed here. The problem was I could not get the timing for the fire drops to be robust enough so that he would never get stuck. And I want you to be able to get stuck because you don't think ahead, but not because I did something wrong. So I just took out that puzzle. And it might make this part a little less obvious, but it's okay. So we can shrink that guy and just push him, or we don't have to actually shrink him, but I do it because it's easier to get around. And now we thaw this guy up here. You can see that he's pushing that block. Right, so these are their main behavior is to push blocks around. Or actually, they can push other things. They can push the ice monsters as well. Anything that's pushable can be pushed by them. Now, this next part. So we need to get that guy all the way down to here because we cannot get out of our level. So hopefully the player has explored somewhat and sees what to do. I just bumped my microphone, sorry. So we're going to shrink this thing here. But you'll notice we still can't fit through, so we're going to have to loop around one more time. So you have to make multiple passes throughout this this area to get through it. Can't do it all in one go. I'm going to go ahead and close this because the blinking is probably going to make it encode much bigger. So we'll shrink him again. And now, see, if you had pushed that guy to the left, you'd be stuck because there's no way to now get back up. Or rather, here's the problem. We want to get this guy down there, and you couldn't drop him in such a way that you would have any leverage to push him. You might be able to get him onto the edge, but it won't quite work. Okay, so we'll push him down. Alright, so we're going to come up. Here's the second point where you can get stuck. So now I'm just going to drop this. Oh wait, I couldn't go because I was standing on him. There, boom. And I'm probably going to have a little animation or something or sound effect to show that. If I had pushed him down now, that thing would be stuck on the wrong side and this would be down at the bottom. So that's the second point right here where we can get stuck. So what we need to do is get this guy over to the other edge. So we'll push this here. Boom, 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 boom. A little too far. I may make this a little bit different here. Doom. All right, so we got that there. But that guy is going to get stuck pushing him because he can't push this guy. You know, he's blocked. So how do we get him? Well, let's make him small by grabbing the fire thing. So we go back up here, grab our little fire seed, and drop it on it. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this water seed just because. Now you haven't yet seen the fire aspect for this guy. You might, no, I don't think you will. Now this guy drops on him, it does freak out a little bit. I have to fix that. That's a known bug. All right, so see, he's going to push him over here to the edge. So there he goes. Now, if this was tall enough to get you up, then you could just stand on that guy. So you can't. You have to hit him with another water. There he goes. All right, so this area is timed, so I'm just going to actually stop for a second and talk about it. Now, so because that area had so many puzzly elements, I wanted to give you a slight break and make you kind of focus on the platforming. So let's go ahead and look at this. So this guy's pushing that thing, right? And he's going to push him off the edge. But we see that seed there. Now, you might miss it the first time, but you jump on that and you can jump up to this thing. So now you'll notice that there's a block up here and that thing is blocking it. So now we could drop down, but we'd get ourselves stuck. So hopefully the player will see this and go, I need to hit that thing. Now, I could drop down either way. They both are safe. You kind of have to do a leap of faith. But there's nowhere else to go. So I wasn't going to be enough of a dick. Now you can think, actually I'm not sure. We'll try it a little bit later. I can't see from right here. You can technically drop into spikes. I may get rid of that. The reason that this is like this is so that you can't just drop through. Although I don't see why not. Alright, so we see there's another block and we can't reach it by throwing a seed. There's no way to get to it like that. But we do have a frozen pushy monster and that'll push it out of the way. So here comes another kind of new puzzle that requires learning some new elements. So let's skip this for now. Now, hopefully at this point, the player will understand how far they can go and not get back up. All right. And hopefully they'll be looking down and see that there is no balloon monster down there. There's no easy way to get back up. Now, one thing we could do is we could hit him with ice, but he almost immediately gets turned into fire again. So what do? Well, here's what you do. One thing you'll notice is if you're watching these guys so far, see how they block? Boom. The monsters interact with seeds. So that you can give him a little hat. By dropping it onto him, you see that he is now immune to the thing. So now we can freeze him and push him off. Now again, there's places here where you can get stuck. If you only pushed one of those two guys down here, you would not be able to reach this jump. You'd be just short of it. You need to combine those two together. Now, I'll talk about this more in a minute. And now this thing here, this fire drop, is a red herring. And the main purpose here is to let you know that sometimes you do not need to interrupt fire drops. Sometimes you have other things to do. Now, and that you should explore. Right, so this whole area, these last two rooms are basically a gateway saying, these are the concepts you must learn to proceed. Right, so this is a red herring here. Instead, we have to go down here towards the exit of the level. And we see that this area continues, but there's no way I can make that jump. I don't even want to try. And this is directly below the area above, which had the big block. So now, if we grab this thing, see, this is why we didn't want to make that into a balloon, because if we did, we would no longer be able to carry up the fire seed, and you'd be stuck. All right. Now, I might be tempted to shrink that guy, right, and just let him drop. And I could do that, but I won't be able to make the jump if I do that. So hopefully at this point, you'll have noticed there is a pushy monster here. And if there is, we should drop it down onto him. But you're free to try the other way too. Then you can. And there you go. Boom. Now there is one place here where I allow you to make a shortcut, right? And it's right here. That if you are particularly fast and skilled, you can basically skip the whole room. So right here, you drop, grab, here, throw. Oh, I missed it. So try it one more time. I'm hitting R to reset. Right. So if you really want to, you absolutely can do that. Oh crap! It didn't reset. I can't figure out why that's happening. I'm wondering if it's going through things and kind of ending up in space. There we go. Boom. See, now we can grab an extra fire seed. So if we do that, we can just basically skip the level. And I'm okay with that. I decided early on that that's not what I was going to try to do. I could stop that by making the pushy monster faster. So yeah, my goal here with these puzzles, more than anything, is to encourage the player to explore and look around and notice the environment before they run in willy-nilly. And force the player to look around the level. So this is one reason that I want to keep the environment fairly small, or rather the field of view fairly small. It's not tiny, but it's fairly small, and that forces you to move around because you don't know what's going to be ahead of you or below you. And you need to think, do I want to push this guy into a place that he's not going to be able to get out of? So, All right. Now, how are we for design? Well, what I'm probably going to do actually is add another room or two that I'm thinking that I may add one before the looper room. That's the first one, first really big one. And that one will be about just introducing the mechanics of the pushy monsters, the way that the block. But the problem is I have the block corridor right before that, and that introduces the block monsters. But I may make it more of a puzzle because the pushy monsters are pretty simple and the blocks are pretty simple. So I don't really feel bad about having multiple mechanics introduced at the same time. Especially because then I start breaking them by making you use other things as hats and put them in the right way and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to do that. I feel like this goes way too fast into very difficult puzzles. Right? I feel like both of these puzzles that I did today in the last 2 days are actually quite difficult and require not only exploring but leaps of kind of intuition and logic that maybe serve a later puzzle. But I don't have that much time to do a lot of levels. Otherwise I would. These would probably be relatively mid-game puzzles. They're definitely not as hard as they could be. What I probably am going to do is make another puzzle, another kind of auto-scroll area by making you ride on the blocks. But I haven't done that yet because I haven't introduced this to you. You don't get moved along as you're on top of it, and it gets really obnoxious to make you constantly run with the block. Alright. But I'm pretty pleased right now. Oh, and I need to add the spitting monsters. So that's my next goal, is add the spitting monsters, and then all the things come together and we can build big puzzles, big rooms. I may add checkpoints, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to leave it like this, where every room is a checkpoint. That way you know where you're going to be. If I have mid-room checkpoints, then I'm going to end up having to make sure things don't break if I start out in a weird state. As it is right now, if you go back, you can get stuck so that you can no longer... you're in the wrong place to do the puzzle because the room reset. But that's okay because you can just hit R and go back to the thing. And go back to the thing. One thing I might do, now that I look at it, and this is the first time thinking of this, is how about some little button things here that show your default keys, right? That kind of indicate context sensitively what's going on. Little icons that say that. The one thing I need to kind of introduce that's probably not going to do is that you can look up and down, and that you can throw things up and throw things down, or drop things down, right? Because dropping things down helps you in certain puzzles quite a bit. In fact, in some cases, it's pretty much required. In that one looper puzzle, it's required, right? And I don't think people know that. They're not going to know that from just the doing it. But you know. So how are we feeling? Okay. I don't have that much time to finish. 10 days is not a lot of time, just over a week. There's a lot of polish, and I want to make sure the game is good. I want to have fun puzzles that people enjoy. I want the pacing to feel decent, and I don't have a lot of feedback from testers telling me what they can do and what they can't do. There's still things that are too fragile and that break really easily and are buggy, and that's not good. I don't want to have that. I do want to let players get stuck if they are stuck. Take the time to figure out the puzzles. Take the time to explore the areas and decide that something is right. And, all right, so I think this has gone on way too long, so I'm going to stop it. But feel free to check out the game. The current build is in the description, as well as, if you'd like, check out the source code on GitHub. It's gotten kind of messy because I've been hacking away at it. I may not get to refactoring a lot of things and making them cleaner until the end of the month, but we'll see. I'm starting to get into bad habits where I use a lot of things like these ternary operators and things like that. But I use these a lot now because I super often say if I'm facing left or right, and I don't really have a good way to shorthand that's clear. Right? So it's basically just boom, boom, boom. I can use that pretty often. I've done a lot of minor refactoring, but I don't really feel like it's something that I need to show on screen. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.